Have you ever thought about a figure who seems like, well, a complete paradox?
Hmm.
You know, someone who's both this mischievous kid and also a really deep philosopher,
Mm.
a master strategist in war, but also like the absolute symbol of divine love.
Yeah, that's Lord Krishna, isn't it? A figure from thousands of years ago, but his story, his life, it still makes you think. Still offers so much about how we live, how we love, our place in the grand scheme of things.
Absolutely.
Right.
Like just when you feel you've got a handle on one part of him,
Right.
another layer just pops up.
Yeah.
It's endlessly fascinating, a story that really benefits from, well, a deep dive.
Exactly. And that's what we're aiming for today. We want to explore all these different facets of Krishna's life. We'll be looking at the ancient texts, trying to understand the key moments, the relationships, the teachings.
Think of it as us trying to answer the questions you might have, sort of exploring it together,
Yeah.
making sense of why he's still so relevant.
And we've got some great sources to draw on. The Srimad Bhagavatam, for instance, it gives these incredibly vivid details about his childhood, those divine pastimes, the Lilas,
Right.
then, of course, the Mahabharata, the epic context for so much of his later life, and crucially, containing the Bhagavad Gita.
The core philosophy.
The absolute core. And we also have the Harivamsha, which adds more details, especially about his family line and some earlier events. So together, they paint a really rich picture.
Okay, let's jump right in then. You know, when we think of Lord Krishna, often a serene image comes to mind, maybe with a flute.
Mm-hmm.
But as you delve deeper, you discover these surprising twists. For instance, in the Mahabharata war, Krishna, the champion of Dharma, sometimes advised on strategies that kind of bent the traditional rules of engagement.
Right, yeah. Or even his childhood.
Exactly.
Right.
Or consider the little butter thief who also effortlessly vanquished powerful demons. It's a fascinating contrast, isn't it, for you listening?
It truly is. And what's remarkable for you is the sheer breadth of Krishna's life and teachings.
Well,
He isn't just a distant deity. He's deeply interwoven with the human experience, navigating complex situations, and offering guidance that still resonates profoundly today.
exactly. And that's precisely what we're exploring in this deep dive. We're not just skimming the surface. We've gathered a wealth of insights from some really in-depth explorations. Our aim for you today is to unpack the multifaceted life of Krishna. We want to understand his journey, the incredible variety of roles he played, and the enduring wisdom of his philosophical teachings. We're going to do this in a way that's insightful, maybe even surprising, without getting bogged down in overwhelming detail. Get ready for some aha moments.
And if we connect this to the bigger picture, for you, understanding Krishna means grasping not just the captivating stories, but the fundamental principles behind them and their lasting relevance in your own life.
Absolutely. So, with a figure as immense as Krishna, where do we even begin? Well, at the beginning, of course.
Makes sense.
We'll trace his life from his dramatic birth in Mathura, through his enchanting childhood in Vrindavan, the pivotal slaying of Kamsa, the establishment of his kingdom in Dwarka, all the way to his Mahaparinirvana.
Huge journey.
Right. Then we'll explore the incredible spectrum of roles he embodied: son, lover, friend, husband, father, warrior, ruler, mentor.
Too many hats.
Exactly. After that, we'll delve into his core philosophical teachings. Dharma, the different paths to liberation like karma, bhakti, jnana, and raja yoga, and the concept of yogeshwar.
Uh-huh.
Naturally, we can't talk about Krishna without discussing his crucial involvement in the Mahabharata, his significant relationships, the many miracles attributed to him, and finally an analysis of his complex and endlessly intriguing character. Ready for this deep dive?
I am. And for you, the listener, notice how each phase of his life seems to build upon the last, each role enriching the others in profound ways.
Okay, let's unpack this life journey then. It all starts in Mathura, and the circumstances of Krishna's birth are anything but ordinary. We hear about Devaki and Vasudeva imprisoned by the tyrannical king Kamsa. This guy was terrified by a prophecy, right, for you listening?
Exactly. The prophecy foretold his death at the hands of Devaki's eighth son. Driven by this intense fear, Kamsa had already murdered their first 6 children.
6.
Yeah. The 7th, Balarama, was miraculously transferred to another womb. So when Krishna, the 8th son, was born, it was under immense pressure and danger.
And then the miraculous escape. The prison doors opening, the guards falling asleep, Vasudeva carrying the newborn across the flooded Yamuna. It's almost like something out of a movie, isn't it, for you?
It is quite dramatic. And for you, the symbolism here is potent. Crossing the river, overcoming a major obstacle, signifies a transition from peril to safety, but also hints at Krishna's divine nature right from the start.
Hmm.
The protection offered by Adishesha, the serpent, further underscores this.
Right, and the famous exchange in Gokul. Vasudeva swaps baby Krishna for Yashoda's newborn daughter, and Kamsa's attempt to kill this baby, who then reveals herself as Yogamaya, the divine illusion, and delivers that final warning to him. Talk about a dramatic first few hours for everyone involved, including you considering this story.
What's fascinating here for you, the listener, is the role of Yogamaya. It sets the stage for the entire narrative, confirming the prophecy and highlighting that there's a divine plan unfolding.
From this perilous start, Krishna's childhood in Vrindavan and Gokul sounds like a complete contrast to this idyllic pastoral life. But even there, it's filled with these incredible stories, these lilas. Yeah. The butter theft, Makan Chor, that's so iconic, isn't it, for you?
It is indeed. And while seemingly just mischievous pranks, these lilas are often interpreted symbolically for you as the divine, playfully engaging with the human heart, perhaps even stealing our attachments to the material world.
That's a beautiful way to look at it. And then you have these constant threats from Kamsa, these demons sent to kill him, Putana, Sakadasura, the list goes on.
So many of them.
And young Krishna just effortlessly defeats them. It's
Right.
almost like these challenges are just part of his divine play. What do you think, listener?
Precisely. These victories demonstrate his inherent power even in his early years, reinforcing his divine nature to those around him, for you to consider. And each demon vanquished can be seen, for you, as overcoming a specific negative force or obstacle in life.
And the lifting of Govardhan Hill. Protecting the Vrajavasis from Indra's wrath. That's a pretty grand gesture for a young boy, wouldn't you say?
It is a remarkable act. It symbolizes divine protection, sheltering devotees from the storms of life, for you, the listener. And it also demonstrates Krishna's supremacy over even the major deities of the time, like Indra.
Right, taking on Indra. And then you have the taming of the serpent Kalia, cleansing the Yamuna River, another act of protection and restoring balance.
Of restoring purity.
And of course, the Rasa Leela with the gopis. This is often seen as the pinnacle of prima bhakti, this intense, selfless, divine love. What stands out to you about this, listener?
What's particularly meaningful here for you is the depth and complexity. It's often interpreted on multiple levels, a literal dance, yes, but also a profound metaphor for the individual soul's deep yearning for union with the divine.
Okay.
The fact that Krishna is said to have multiplied himself so each gopi felt he was exclusively with her speaks to the personal and intimate nature of divine love that each of us can experience.
It's such a rich tapestry of stories.
Yeah.
But destiny eventually calls Krishna back to Mathura, right? Kava's wrestling tournament invitation, a thinly veiled attempt to finally get rid of him and Balarama. What were Kamsa's motivations here for you following along?
Precisely. It's Kamsa's last desperate attempt to defy the prophecy and hold on to his power. Pure desperation.
And their arrival in Mathura, breaking the celestial bow, killing the elephant Kuvalayapita right at the entrance. These are powerful statements, aren't they? Signaling their arrival and their strength for everyone to witness.
Absolutely. They immediately disrupt Kamsa's carefully orchestrated plan, showcasing their divine power and fearlessness for all, including you, to recognize no sneaking in.
No, definitely not. And then the confrontation in the wrestling arena, defeating Shanuro and Mushtika, Kamsa's champion.
Right, the top guys.
And finally, Krishna slaying Kamsa himself, fulfilling the prophecy and ending his reign of terror. It must have been a moment of immense relief for Devaki and Vasudeva, wouldn't you imagine?
Oh, undoubtedly. It was the culmination of years of fear and oppression. And Krishna, in his humility, reinstates Ugrasena as king, demonstrating that his actions weren't driven by personal ambition for power, something for you to consider.
That's a great point. But even with Kams gone, the threats weren't entirely over, were they? Chorasanda and his allies kept coming after Mathura.
Yeah, Kamsa had powerful friends, or rather, allies.
This leads to Krishna's strategic decision to establish Dwaraka. What does this tell us about Krishna's leadership, for you reflecting on this?
Exactly. Recognizing the persistent vulnerability of Mathura, Krishna displays his foresight and exceptional leadership. Relocating the entire Yadava clan to a secure location was a brilliant strategic move to ensure their safety, something crucial for you to understand about his approach. He was practical.
And the founding of Dwaraka itself sounds almost mythical, requesting land from Varuna, the sea god, Vishwakarma, constructing this magnificent, fortified island city on the coast of Gujarat.
Right.
It was like creating a new, divinely protected haven. What kind of impact do you think this had on his followers?
It was a testament to Krishna's power and meticulous planning. A well-fortified, prosperous city provided a much-needed safe haven for his people, solidifying his role as a protector and wise leader for you to appreciate. It becomes his central base of operations for everything that follows.
Which, of course, includes the epic Mahabharata, but we'll get to that. Krishna's earthly journey eventually concludes with the Mahaparinirvana and the, frankly, tragic Yadava catastrophe. What were the underlying causes of this for you, considering the narrative?
Yes, Gandhari's curse after the devastating war plays a significant role here. Her immense grief and anger over the loss of her sons led to a powerful prophecy about the destruction of the Yadavas. It's quite potent.
And then you have the incident with Samba and the sages, leading to the curse of the Iron Club in Musala. It's like this chain of events is set in motion, highlighting the consequences of actions. What can we learn from this sequence of events?
It vividly illustrates the concept of karma and its inescapable consequences, extending even to Krishna's own lineage, for you to reflect upon. No one is exempt, it seems.
The ominous signs in Dwaraka, the internal conflict, the self-annihilation of the Yadavas at Prabhasatirtha using these cursed reeds. It's a really sobering end to such a powerful dynasty. What emotions do you think this part of the story evokes, listener?
It is a poignant reminder of the impermanence of even the most powerful empires and the destructive nature of internal discord, a valuable lesson for you to take away. Pride, arrogance, leading to downfall.
And then Krishna's own departure, retreating to the forest, being struck by Jara's arrow. It almost feels like a very human end for such a divine figure. What are your thoughts on this seemingly ordinary end?
It does appear so, but even in his departure, there's a profound sense of acceptance and the complete fulfillment of his earthly purpose. The subsequent submergence of Dwaraka by the ocean further emphasizes the cyclical nature of time and the end of an era, marking the definitive beginning of the Kali Yuga.
It's quite a journey, from a prison cell to a submerged city. It really sets the stage for understanding the complexity of Krishna. And speaking of complexity, let's delve into the multifaceted roles he played. He wasn't just one thing, was he, for you trying to grasp his essence?
Absolutely not. He embodies a vast spectrum of both human and divine experiences, offering a rich tapestry for your understanding.
Let's start with son. We have this dual parentage, Devaki and Vasudeva, his biological parents, and Yashoda and Nanda, his foster parents. The dynamics must have been so different. What kind of impact did these two different relationships have on him?
Indeed. With Devaki and Vasudeva, there was that initial awe and deep reverence, recognizing his divine nature, coupled with the profound pain of their imprisonment and forced separation from him.
Right.
The relationship was largely about fulfilling the divine prophecy. However, with Yashoda and Nanda, it was pure, unconditional parental love, what's known as Vatsalya Bhava.
Vatsalya Bhava.
For you, imagine the purest, most tender affection a parent can have for a child. Krishna experienced and fully reciprocated that loving bond, engaging in those endearing and playful childhood antics that are so beloved. The pranks, the charm.
It really humanizes him in a powerful way, doesn't it, that experience of being a cherished child?
Absolutely.
Then we have Lover, his relationship with Radha and the gopis in Vrindavan. We touched on the Rasa Leela, but this whole aspect is so central to certain devotional traditions. What makes this relationship so significant?
It is incredibly significant, but for you, it's important to understand it's not just romantic love in the earthly sense. It's prima bhakti, the individual soul's intense and selfless yearning for the divine.
Okay, so beyond just earthly romance.
Yes. Radha, in particular, often represents Mathura Bhava, that most intimate romantic love, as a powerful and direct path to union with the divine. Think of it for you as the deepest longing of your heart reaching out to something greater. It's a potent symbol of the devotee's complete absorption in and loving connection with the Supreme.
And then friend. His deep bond with Arjuna is legendary, especially through the Mahabharata and the Bhagavad Gita.
Absolutely central.
It wasn't just a king and his charioteer, it was a profound trust and mutual respect. What makes this friendship so exemplary?
Exactly. Krishna offered Arjuna not just guidance, but also treated him as an equal, respecting his doubts and choices, as you see in the famous offering of himself or his vast army.
The choice, yeah.
Their friendship was built on unwavering mutual respect and complete support. And then you have his beautiful friendship with Sudama, a powerful example of loyalty and affection that completely transcends social status.
Oh, the Sudama story is wonderful.
Krishna's incredibly generous welcome to his impoverished childhood friend truly speaks volumes about his character, something for you to remember. And his protective relationship with Draupadi, that divine grace during the Vastraharana, the miraculous, endless sari, that's a powerful and enduring image of divine intervention safeguarding pure devotion in times of extreme crisis.
Absolutely. That moment of Draupadi's complete surrender and Krishna's immediate miraculous response is so incredibly impactful, demonstrating the power of faith.
It really is.
And then we move to husband. He had multiple marriages, including Rukmini and Satyabhama, and famously marrying the 16,100 rescued princesses. It's a part of his life that sometimes raises questions for people. How should we understand these marriages?
These marriages are often interpreted on multiple levels. The marriage to Rukmini was a heroic act, whisking her away at her request, showcasing his valor and fulfilling her deep devotion.
I had the affection.
The relationship with Satyabhama is often portrayed as spirited and complex, highlighting different facets of love and partnership, maybe a bit more fiery.
Aha!
And the marriage to the 16,100 rescued princesses was primarily an act of immense compassion, restoring their honor and providing them with societal acceptance after they had been held captive by Narakasura. It's a demonstration of his embracing the role of a householder and fulfilling his social and dharmic duties in a comprehensive way.
And father. We hear about Pradyumna and Samba and a large family in Dwaraka. While maybe not as emphasized as some other roles, it's still a significant aspect of his life as a householder. What does this tell us about his engagement with worldly life?
It further grounds him in the complexities of the human experience, navigating familial responsibilities just like anyone else. Though, as we see in the story of Samba's curse, even divine parentage doesn't exempt one from the consequences of their actions, a crucial lesson for all. That whole episode led to the Yadava destruction, remember?
True. Then we have warrior and strategist. His childhood victories were clear demonstrations of his immense power. But in the Mahabharata, his non-combatant role as Arjuna's charioteer is so interesting. He's not directly fighting, but his strategic brilliance is undeniable. How did he influence the war without wielding a weapon?
Precisely. He guides the Pandavas with crucial advice, offering tactical insights and vital psychological support during moments of crisis. And yes, some of his strategies, like the use of Shikhandi against the seemingly invincible Bhishma or the carefully crafted information about Ashwatthama for the formidable Drona, are indeed controversial.
Very controversial.
However, they are often justified within the context of countering the Kauravas' persistent adharma and ultimately ensuring the victory of Dharma itself. It wasn't always playing by the standard rulebook.
And ruler and kingmaker. His just rule of Dwaraka is mentioned, and his significant political influence in supporting the righteous Pandavas against the unrighteous Kauravas was undeniable. Even his peace mission to Hastinapur was a clear display of his diplomatic efforts. What can we learn from his approach to governance and politics?
He was a pivotal political player of his time, consistently working towards the establishment and upholding of Dharma, not just on an individual level, but on a societal scale as well. His actions demonstrate a commitment to justice and the well-being of his people, even trying diplomacy first.
And finally, mentor and guru. His teachings to Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita are the very cornerstone of his enduring philosophical legacy.
Without a doubt.
But he also imparted final, profound instructions to Uddhava, known as the Uddhava Gita. It's this role that perhaps has the most far-reaching and lasting impact for us today, wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. These timeless teachings continue to guide spiritual seekers across the globe, offering profound and practical wisdom on all aspects of life, duty, and the path to ultimate liberation. It's why we're still talking about him.
It's almost overwhelming to consider just how many different facets there are to Krishna. But exploring these diverse roles really gives us a much richer and more complete picture of his profound complexity. Now, let's delve into those fundamental philosophical teachings that underpin so much of his enduring significance. We have Dharma, of course, this core concept of righteous duty and the natural order of things. What is the essence of Dharma for you trying to understand it?
Dharma is absolutely central, but for you, it's vital to understand it's not merely about blindly following a set of rigid rules. It's more nuanced.
Okay.
Instead, it's about deeply understanding your own inherent nature, your unique capabilities, and your specific responsibilities within the larger cosmic order. For Arjuna, being a kshatriya, a warrior, his svadharma, his personal duty was to engage in righteous warfare.
Right, the warrior's duty.
However, the scriptures also reveal that dharma is often subtle and deeply contextual, varying depending on the specific time, kala, place, desha, and individual circumstances involved, patra. So for you, dharma is about discerning the right course of action in any given situation based on your deepest understanding of what is just and harmonious. It requires wisdom.
And it's so interesting to see how different influential figures throughout history have interpreted and applied this concept of Dharma in their own lives and teachings. Gandhi, Aurobindo, Yogananda, Prabhupada, they all bring their unique perspectives. What does this tell us about the adaptability of Dharma?
Yes, while the core principles of truth, nonviolence, and compassion often remain central, their specific emphasis and practical application can indeed vary across different contexts and philosophical schools. This reflects the inherent multifaceted nature of Dharma itself.
Okay.
Ultimately, the Bhagavad Gita emphasizes that consistently performing your svadharma, your own unique duty with a spirit of detachment, is presented as a powerful path towards inner purification and the ultimate liberation, moksha.
And speaking of moksha, Krishna so clearly lays out these different paths to achieving liberation. We have karma yoga, the path of selfless action. How can we integrate karma yoga into our daily lives?
Karma yoga for you is about taking action in the world without being attached to the outcomes or personal rewards. It's about dedicating your efforts, viewing your work as a form of sacred offering, a yajna.
Like a sacrifice.
In a sense, yes. Sacrificing the attachment to the fruits of action and finding deep purification and inner peace through selfless service or seva to others. Think of it as doing your best work, not just for recognition, but because it's the right thing to do, because you're contributing to something larger than yourself.
Then there's bhakti yoga, the profound path of devotion, love, and complete surrender to the Supreme Being, to Krishna. This seems like a very direct and accessible path for many, focusing on the heart. What are some practical ways to cultivate bhakti?
It is a deeply accessible path. For you, it involves cultivating a loving and devoted connection with the divine through practices like sincere prayer, chanting sacred names or mantras, engaging in heartfelt worship, and offering selfless service with love and devotion.
Chanting worship.
Exactly. Even the simplest offering made with a pure heart and genuine love is deeply accepted. It's about nurturing that personal relationship with the divine, connecting through the heart.
And jnana yoga, the rigorous pursuit of spiritual wisdom and true understanding, this path sounds more intellectual, focusing on deeply understanding the fundamental nature of reality. How does one practically engage in jnana yoga?
Exactly. It involves diligent self-inquiry, constantly asking, who am I? Sharp discrimination, viveka, between what is real and what is transient, consistent self-analysis, and the ultimate realization of the true self, the Atman, and its oneness with the ultimate reality, Brahman.
Discernment seems key here.
Very much so. Cultivating detachment vairagya from worldly attachments is also a crucial aspect of this path. It's a journey of profound intellectual and spiritual discernment, using the mind to transcend the mind, in a way.
And finally, Raja Yoga, the disciplined practice of controlling the mind and vital energies through meditation and other yogic techniques. This is often closely associated with Patanjali's well-structured system of yoga. What are the key benefits of Raja Yoga for someone seeking self-mastery?
Yes, it's a systematic approach aimed at gaining mastery over the often turbulent mind and the body's vital energies through consistent practices like meditation, ethical observances, yamas and niyamas, physical postures, asanas, and breath control, pranayama.
The 8 limbs.
Precisely. Meditation in particular is presented as absolutely crucial for achieving deep self-awareness, inner stillness, and profound self-mastery. What's really important for you to understand is that these different yogas aren't necessarily mutually exclusive. In fact, they are deeply interconnected and often complement each other.
So you can practice more than one.
Absolutely. They simply cater to the diverse temperaments and inherent inclinations, what's referred to as adhikara, of different individuals. Some are more heart-oriented, some more intellectual, some more action-oriented.
It's like a comprehensive toolkit for spiritual growth, offering a variety of effective approaches tailored for different people and their unique tendencies.
Well put.
And beyond these specific yogic paths, Krishna also offers invaluable guidance on the art of ethical living, effectively facing life's inevitable challenges and ultimately achieving true and lasting success. What are some of his core principles for navigating life?
Yes, there's a strong and consistent emphasis on cultivating essential virtues like unwavering truthfulness, practicing nonviolence, ahimsa in thought, word, and deed, nurturing genuine compassion for all beings, and developing strong self-control over one's senses and desires.
Truth, nonviolence, compassion, self-control.
Exactly. He also strongly cautions against the destructive influences of lust, anger, and greed, the three gates to hell, as he calls them in the Gita. And he repeatedly stresses the vital importance of maintaining equanimity, samatvam, in the face of life's inevitable dualities, viewing both successes and failures, joys and sorrows, as valuable opportunities for growth and learning. True success, according to his profound teachings, isn't merely about material achievements, but about fulfilling your dharma and ultimately realizing your true self, emphasizing the paramount importance of inner mastery above all else.
Inner mastery, I like that. And then we had this profound concept of Yogeshwar, the Lord of Yoga, the ultimate master of all mystic powers and spiritual disciplines. What exactly does the term Yogeshwar truly encompass?
Yogeshwar signifies Krishna's supreme and unparalleled mastery over all forms of yoga, his innate ability to seamlessly integrate these seemingly different paths, karma, bhakti, jnana, and raja yoga, into a harmonious and holistic whole.
The master integrator.
Yes. He stands as the very embodiment of perfect union with the divine and serves as the ultimate guide for all individuals striving to achieve that same sacred union through the integrated and balanced practice of these diverse yogic disciplines. For you, understanding Yogeshwar means recognizing that whatever spiritual path you might feel most drawn to is not an isolated endeavor, but a vital thread in the grand tapestry of divine union. And Krishna, as Yogeshwar, embodies the perfect weaving of all these threads.
It all ties together so beautifully and elegantly. Now, let's turn our attention to Krishna's very specific and pivotal involvement in the epic Mahabharata war. It wasn't just about offering strategic advice on the battlefield. There was a whole crucial diplomatic prelude that attempted to avert the devastating conflict, wasn't there?
Absolutely. Krishna's significant peace mission to the Kaurava court is a truly pivotal event in the lead up to the war. He delivered incredibly eloquent and persuasive arguments for justice and reconciliation, even offering a remarkably minimal settlement of just 5 humble villages for the Pandavas to avoid bloodshed.
5 villages. That seems incredibly reasonable.
It was. And yet, the arrogant Duryodhana just flat out refused this incredibly reasonable offer, didn't he? Famously saying he wouldn't give them land even the size of a needlepoint.
Wow. It really highlights the Kauravas' deep-seated unwillingness to compromise in any way and tragically sets the stage for the inevitable and devastating conflict. What does this stubborn refusal tell us about the nature of ego in conflict?
It starkly illustrates the blinding and destructive power of ego and unrighteousness. And Duryodhana's audacious attempt to apprehend Krishna during this very peace mission.
He tried to capture Krishna.
Yes. Followed by Krishna's awe-inspiring revelation of his magnificent cosmic form, Vishwarupa, powerfully underscores the divine presence and the immense spiritual stakes involved in the unfolding events. Vidura's wise and repeatedly ignored counsel further emphasizes the profound moral bankruptcy of the Kaurava court.
So diplomacy failed completely.
Utterly. Ultimately, this complete failure of diplomacy provided the necessary just cause, the ethical justification, the jus ad bellum for the ensuing war. They had tried the peaceful route.
And then the war itself. Krishna famously takes on the unique role of Arjuna's charioteer, becoming known as Parthasarathi. His strategic guidance and wise counsel proved to be absolutely crucial for the eventual victory of the Pandavas. How did his non-combatant role still have such a decisive impact on the war's outcome?
It was through his unparalleled wisdom, astute tactical insights, and unwavering psychological support that he guided the Pandavas through the immense complexities and moral dilemmas of the Kurukshetra battlefield. His timely advice and profound understanding of warfare were instrumental in shaping their strategies and bolstering their resolve in the face of overwhelming odds. He was the master strategist.
And we absolutely have to address those controversial tactics he sometimes advised, like the strategic use of Shikhandi to counter the seemingly invincible Bhishma.
Bhishma couldn't fight a woman, or someone who had been a woman.
Right. And the carefully crafted news about Ashwatthama to demoralize the formidable Drona.
Telling him his son Ashwatthama was dead. Well, Ashwatthama the elephant, but letting Drona believe it was his son.
A half-truth, essentially. And urging the attack on Karna's chariot when it was disabled, these actions still spark a lot of ethical debate. How are these actions typically understood within the broader context of the Mahabharata's narrative and teachings on Dharma?
They do indeed continue to provoke discussion. However, within the narrative, they are often justified as necessary and pragmatic measures taken to counter the Kauravas' persistent and unyielding adharma and to ultimately ensure the triumph of righteousness, of Dharma.
So the ends justified the means in this view.
That's often the argument. It raises fundamental and complex questions about the delicate balance between strictly adhering to conventional rules of engagement and the ultimate pursuit of a just and ethical outcome in situations of extreme conflict. It compels us, and you listening, to consider whether sometimes, in the face of profound injustice, unconventional means might be warranted to restore balance and uphold Dharma.
It's definitely complex, and of course at the very heart of this epic war is Krishna's profound teachings to a deeply despondent Arjuna, the timeless wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita.
A jewel of the Mahabharata.
Arjuna's overwhelming despair and moral crisis right there on the battlefield, and Krishna's subsequent transformative discourse that unfolds. What is the enduring significance of this dialogue for us even today?
That incredibly relatable moment of Arjuna's profound moral and emotional crisis, faced with the prospect of fighting his own kin, serves as the perfect catalyst for Krishna to reveal these absolutely timeless and universally applicable spiritual truths.
He basically breaks down on the battlefield.
Completely. He elucidates the fundamental nature of reality, the crucial importance of one's duty dharma, the profound paths to liberation through selfless action, karma yoga, loving devotion, bhakti yoga, and discriminative wisdom jnana yoga, as well as the vital importance of mastering the restless mind and ultimately surrendering to the divine.
The whole spectrum we just discussed.
Exactly. This transformative dialogue not only provides Arjuna with the clarity and resolve he desperately needed, but continues to offer invaluable guidings for anyone grappling with difficult choices, ethical dilemmas, and the fundamental questions of life itself. The Gita truly elevates the Mahabharata from a mere epic tale of war to a profound and enduring scripture for all times and all forms of conflict, both internal and external.
It truly does. It stands as a scripture that resonates deeply across all times and addresses conflicts both on the grand scale and within the individual human heart. Now let's turn our attention to some of Krishna's other very significant incidents and deeply meaningful relationships beyond the intense drama of the battlefield.
Yeah.
His bond with the five Pandava brothers was clearly something very special and enduring. What was the foundation of this profound connection?
Absolutely. Their relationship transcended mere kinship. He was their maternal cousin, yes, but it was much deeper. It was a deep and unwavering bond rooted in shared righteousness and a mutual commitment to Dharma.
So it was based on shared values.
Primarily, Krishna served as their constant and trusted guide, offering invaluable support and unwavering protection during their challenging periods of exile. Remember the dice game Aftermath?
Oh, yeah.
During this significant Rajasuya Yagna, and of course throughout the tumultuous war, his unwavering alignment with them always stemmed from their steadfast dedication to upholding Dharma in the face of injustice.
And his unique friendship with Draupadi seems to possess a particularly intense and deeply moving quality. He called her Saki, friend.
Yes, a very special bond.
That iconic moment of divine protection during the Vastraharana, when her sari miraculously became endless, is such a powerful image. What does this particular relationship reveal about Krishna's nature?
It is indeed a deeply significant and powerful illustration of Sharanagati Draupadi's complete and absolute surrender to Krishna and his immediate, miraculous, and unwavering response to protect his devoted.
She called out only to him.
Exactly. It highlights his profound and unconditional commitment to safeguarding those who place their faith in him, particularly those facing injustice and oppression, especially women. And his providing the Akshaya Patra, the inexhaustible vessel of food, during their exile, is another poignant instance of his divine grace and unwavering support. He was always there for her.
And we've touched upon some of the more widely known miracles, like the effortless slaying of powerful demons in his childhood and the incredible lifting of Govardhan Hill. But the Vishwarupa Darshana, the awe-inspiring revelation of his cosmic form to a bewildered Arjuna right there on the battlefield, that must have been an absolutely overwhelming and transformative experience. What was the purpose and impact of this divine manifestation?
It was the ultimate and most profound demonstration of his supreme divine power, revealing his magnificent cosmic form that encompasses the entirety of creation, all of reality itself, seeing everything within him.
Mind-blowing, really.
Absolutely. This breathtaking vision left an indelible and transformative mark on Arjuna's understanding and powerfully reinforced Krishna's ultimate nature as the supreme being. These various miracles in general serve to consistently reinforce his dual role as both the universal, all-encompassing deity and as a deeply personal and intimately involved guide in the lives of his devoted followers.
It all paints this incredibly vivid and multifaceted picture of Krishna. And finally, let's try to step back and analyze the core character of Krishna himself. How did he typically approach navigating difficult and complex situations and dealing with formidable adversaries throughout his life? What were his characteristic methods and approaches?
He consistently demonstrated a clear preference for diplomacy and peaceful negotiation as the initial approach to resolving conflicts. Try peace first.
As we saw with the mission to Hastinapur.
Exactly. However, when those efforts proved futile and faced with persistent unrighteousness, he was highly pragmatic, readily employing strategic action aimed at firmly establishing and upholding Dharma. He sometimes utilized unconventional tactics, particularly when facing opponents who themselves operated outside the bounds of ethical conduct.
Like the Kauravas.
Precisely, always with the overarching aim of promoting the greater good, lokasangraha. And even amidst decisive action, we consistently see remarkable moments of profound compassion and forgiveness, such as his eventual forgiving of Jara, the hunter who unknowingly caused his departure.
Right, he didn't blame Jara.
No, he saw it as part of the unfolding destiny.
And his long and impactful life, despite its many glorious successes and achievements establishing Dwarka, guiding the Pandavas, delivering the Gita, also included its share of unfortunate and tragic aspects. Gandhari's powerful curse, the devastating internal strife and eventual destruction of the Yadavas, and even his own seemingly ordinary departure from the world. How do we reconcile these seemingly contradictory aspects within his divine narrative?
It poignantly illustrates the intricate interplay of divine will, the inexorable laws of karma, and the significant role of human agency in shaping events. Krishna, despite his divine nature, often chose to witness these unfolding tragedies without directly intervening.
He didn't stop the Yadava destruction.
No, he largely allowed it to unfold, perhaps highlighting the inevitability of cosmic cycles and the far-reaching consequences of collective human actions and choices, like the Yadava's own arrogance and infighting fueled by the curse. His acceptance of these events with profound serenity reflects his deep understanding of these fundamental principles and his inherent spiritual detachment from the transient nature of the material world.
So detachment even in the face of tragedy.
Yes, a profound lesson in itself.
And ultimately, as we reflect on his entire life and teachings, what are the most exemplary behaviors and core qualities that Krishna embodies for us, serving as timeless lessons and ideals to strive for in our own lives?
He embodies profound detachment, nishkama, in all his actions, unwavering adherence to the principles of dharma, boundless compassion and selfless love, karuna and prema for all beings, exceptional wisdom, jnana in understanding the true nature of reality, remarkable leadership and astute strategic thinking, unwavering fearlessness, abhaya in the face of adversity, and a truly remarkable integration of the diverse aspects of human and divine existence.
That integration seems key.
It really is.
Mm-hmm.
He serves as an enduring model for living a life that is fully engaged with the world, yet remains deeply rooted in spiritual awareness and detachment. Not withdrawn, but engaged without attachment.
So as we draw to the close of this deep dive into the extraordinary life and profound teachings of Lord Krishna, what are the key takeaways that you, our listener, can carry with you?
I believe the most vital takeaway for you is to truly recognize the incredibly multifaceted nature of Krishna. He transcends being just a mythological figure. He stands as a rich and complex embodiment of the vast potential inherent in both humanity and divinity. The timeless wisdom contained within the Bhagavad Gita offers profoundly relevant and practical guidance for effectively navigating the complexities and challenges of your own life, regardless of your individual background or personal beliefs. There's something in there for everyone.
And for me, reflecting on our discussion, I think the intricate ethical complexities surrounding some of Krishna's strategic decisions during the Mahabharata war really stick with me. It compels you to deeply contemplate the nuances of Dharma and the often incredibly difficult choices one might face when striving to uphold righteousness in a world filled with conflict and ambiguity. It's not always black and white.
That's a crucial and thought-provoking point. It underscores that applying fundamental ethical principles isn't always a straightforward or simple process, and often demands careful consideration of the specific context and potential long-term consequences of our actions. Dharma can be subtle.
So here's a final thought for you, our listener, to really consider as you go about your day. How might the core concept of svadharma, your own unique duty, inherent nature, and specific responsibilities truly apply to the various challenges and exciting opportunities that you are currently facing in your own life? And how does this profound idea of acting in the world without being attached to the ultimate results resonate with your own personal experiences of both success and perceived failure?
These are indeed powerful and deeply personal questions to reflect upon. Truly exploring your own unique dharma and striving to cultivate a spirit of detachment in your actions can be profoundly transformative on your life's journey. It takes practice, of course.
We wholeheartedly encourage you to delve even deeper into the primary source texts, the illuminating Srimad Bhagavatam, the epic Mahabharata in its entirety, and of course the timeless wisdom of the Bhagavad Gita, or into any of the specific aspects of Krishna's remarkable life and teachings that have particularly sparked your interest and curiosity during our discussion today.
Yeah, there's so much more depth there.
There truly is an entire universe of profound wisdom waiting for you to explore. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive.